Alright, ladies and gents and others in the chat. Another day, another stream. And everything's how it's going. Everything's right where it should be, you know? We have bot pushing customers, no, not customers though, merchants, I suppose, for over at Kick. And on the YouTube front, I've actually gained one whole subscriber. And I'll go like, okay, it ain't much, but I'll take it. We all start somewhere. You know, even Titans like Markiplier and the like, just, you know, all started with one and built up from there. Not that I have any massive aspirations of becoming the next Markiplier. But that's nice. And I'm just gonna go off on the assumption that that is an actual person and not a bot. So, thank you for stopping by and subscribing. Means I must be doing something right, I suppose. So, what else has happened? Beyond that, like I said, earlier mentioned in an earlier stream, went to the store and bought the air filter machine. I've left it on inside my little office room ever since I got it at noon today, and the good news is, at least according to the sensors, the air quality in my office is good. And I'm like, okay, let's frickin' go. We'll just have to see if it helps. Normally, because I never really had the problem of coughing in this room before. But then again, I've always been I haven't really been talking much to myself or to anybody else either while in this room. So, yeah. That's weird. I also went on a job interview, which was really fun. Because I was on the way to the store to buy the air filter machine, and I go like, oh, my phone is ringing. Unknown number. Go like, oh yeah, you know, we're calling you regarding the apply to job for us. They go like, oh yeah, that's correct. But I'm kind of on the bus now. It's like I'm not really in a position to take a phone interview. But can I call you back in a couple of hours? They go like, oh yeah, sure, no problem. It did not go well, though. It's not that I dropped the ball or anything like that, or like we had a... It's just I was a bad fit for the job. I had a sneaking suspicion that it would be, that I would be a bad fit for it, because this job was more related to going out to clients out in the field, many different smaller clients, rather than just working towards one big client, as it were, that I'm used to. Right? Working in IT, and it's go like, yeah, there's a problem with the, and you sort of get boxed in because like there's no, everything's global, you know. So we can't necessarily, if there's an issue with the server, we don't necessarily have anything to do with that. We can just report it and then go to the server team who's in a different time zone or whatever. So I was a bad fit, at least for that job. But he was nice enough to go like, yeah, you know, well, if something else comes up, I'm gonna, you know, it's not that I'm gonna throw your papers, your resume or whatnot in the trash, but right now, for the job, for what we're looking for right here and right now, you're not a good fit. Like, that's totally fine. That's totally fair. I don't want to be in a... If there's one thing that I hate, really dislike, chat, it is being in a job or have a job responsibility that I don't like. I don't have a sense of mastery. I go like, I don't know. At least if it's sort of expected of me to be very, very good at it right out the freaking gate, then I'm like, that's not gonna work for me. I don't. And then of course there's a technical skill certifications and practical skills in general. So but you know, if nothing else, and just to go like, yeah, it sucks, of course. You go like, fine, you're like, finally, yeah, I got through the ringer. Fine, not only did I get a response, I got through the first interview, first ringer, and then of course you kind of fumble at the finish line, so to speak. And yeah, there's no other way to put it, chat. And it's just, it sucks. Even though that's like, yeah, that's the way that it goes, and it's unfair to them to like puff myself up more than I am. Like, oh yeah, I know everything about mainframes, and psh, I crunched, you know, router configuration, Cisco router configurations in my sleep. I know all about that. Never touched a darn thing. That is that level of hype is not so too probably honest to a fault, basically. Like, or maybe not a fault, but like, no, it doesn't. Because I don't want that. I don't want to be in a position where people are looking to me and go like, yeah, you're supposed to know this, and go like, no, this is outside of my. It's not that I'm not willing to learn or anything like that, but it's more along the lines of me not how to say, yeah, you gotta get that. I don't have the theoretical understanding nor the practical experiences kind of that I could just sort of jump into a position where you sort of go like, yeah, well, we're sort of expecting you to just come in swinging and do more in things that are far more in depth than what you're already currently familiar with. What the heck is going on with this bottle here? Alright, this is the mistake. Okay, right. There we go. So, it's a bummer, but if nothing else, you get experience with the interviewing process, which is a skill in and of itself. And I suppose I'm also in the catalog for the staffing bureau that sort of put me in contact with the client. So tricky part is not to lose hope, chat. Although, not gonna lie, it's a still stings, it still hurts. Probably even more so. I'm not sure what hurts more, that you go like you get so close, but then you go like you could see the finish line, but then again, I suspect had I even gotten the job, it would probably be one of those situations where I suspect that I would have not worked out. That I would have bitten over more than I can chew, and it would be like a 6-month trial period, and it would go like hell. So, and it would go like, this isn't for me, I need to get the heck out of here. So, yeah. Right, okay, so. But anyway, let's do some value studying for Inktober, and what the heck am I supposed to do now? I suppose we just start adding blacks to it. I guess. Yeah, okay. I can. I'm starting to see it. So, what do we do with the glass? This one is okay. Yeah, this is interesting because like you have the bottom of the glass here, but then of course you have the reflection as well. Oh, how do we do that, chat? That is an interesting one. Okay, okay. It's not going to be 110%, but that's... Okay, because we're not going... I'm definitely not going for photorealism, chat. Something like that make like this it kinda yeah. Okay. If we then oh, now we're cooking with gas, chat. Look at that. And if we want to add the bubbles, we can always add them, but yeah, it's just continuous refinement of the form. But yeah, I mean, yeah. I can see the vision. Now the other one has more, you know, the water is, I think it's water. I'm pretty sure it's just water. Excuse me. It's getting poured into it, so it's much brighter. Because of those pesky bubbles, so. But okay, let's just start with the big. And then go medium and then small, I suppose. Right, and we're just gonna go here. Like that. And then yeah, look at that. Good old-fashioned manual labor. No prompting into some shady website. Right, and it kind of goes down in and then down again. Right, and then In, down, out. So if we do this, okay. Yeah, like my abilities to estimate the shapes. Like, it's not perfect, but my abilities to estimate them. I'm getting pretty good, chat. I'm getting better, which is good. Blah. Yeah. I honestly don't know if it's just me talking in this room. Is that? But I no idea why that would trigger me coughing. I don't know. Maybe I'll just have to. Maybe it's just the apartment as a whole. But I do talk to myself, weirdly as it sounds, in the living room, and no coughing, chat. No coughing. Weird. All right. Now we just need to get this guzzling. Something like that. Yeah. Just shapes within shapes and trying to rule a cool and come on. Like that. Yeah, well, and then hang on. Nope. I guess? Question mark? Oh no, 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 no. I'm not paying attention to the reference. My head is in a different space. It goes here, and then up, and then down. Yeah, because you get this big white chunky triangular shaped thingamabob there. Yeah. And it actually doesn't go all the way because you have the finger which sort of interrupts that math. So we can keep it simple and just fill all of this with black. Probably more elegant ways of doing it than this, but hey, here we are. Doing things in a non-elegant way. And we will something like that. No, don't do that. Stupid arm. Okay, you know, screw it. We're not gonna do it the draw box way. We're just gonna do it the digital, little by little way. That. Get some interesting shapes in there. And what I also kind of want to do is get this in here and then get the line in. Yeah, like I kind of want to, because that finger is also in shadow. So it's probably close to something like that. If you want to go like, it's in shadow, therefore it must. Okay, a little bit lower. Not higher this time, chat, just lower. That looks pretty nice. Yeah. So, I suppose we could put in some cute little bubbles or something like that. Especially if, I don't know, maybe a little bit too much, but towards the bottom. too, just to make them a little bit more visually interesting, I guess. So they're not just dots. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah, like the mouth of the glass here is gonna be a royal pain to try to capture. But as long as you get the basic idea of it, that's the important part, I guess. Or at least it's for me at this stage. That is what's kind of super important for me. There we go. Like that reflective surface thingamabob. Yeah, it has these little something here. Because that line needs to be connected. That line. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Like. Ugh, that's not good. But again, it's also one of those things where you're like, how much time am I gonna spend doing that? Again, if I really, really, really wanted to replicate this faithfully, then I would probably just, crank up the some sort of referencing or systems rulers, something like that. Okay, and again, we could do this as well. Just to see. Look, if done properly, right? Something like that, right? And all that shiny refraction thing. Yeah, and then it would need to this would probably then need to connect somehow. Doesn't make any sense. I think that makes a little bit, a smudge more sense than it used to. Yeah. Oop. A little bit of cheating, chat. A little bit of cheating. Where am I? There we go. Sometimes Krita, along with, I don't know if it's a Krita or the combination of Krita running through Steam or Krita running through Steam on Linux, but it gets a bit funky at times. The only reason why I have it through Steam is because, excuse me, they do have some full-time developers working on Steam, on Krita, and they've got bills to pay like everybody else. I'm like, yeah, they deserve some money on it. That's only fair. They should be compensated for their labor. Plus, when you get it on Steam, you get to see how many hours you spent on it. And last year, it was close to 500 hours. And I'm just over 900 hours now, so we're closing in on 500 hours per year. And if I spend, roughly speaking, the same amount of time in Clip Studio Paint, wow, 500 hours a year. First year was Drawbox, more or less exclusively. I've been at it for 8 years. So 7 of those are digital. 7 times 5. I'm piss poor at math, so. 7 times 5. Or 5 times 7, I suppose. 35. 3,500 hours. Right? And if you then look at it and go like, yeah, you know, the saying goes like you need 10,000 hours at something to get good at it, to get a sense of mastery. And it's only now, like in recent time, that like things are starting to click and things are starting to get it. But like my big eureka moment was last year when I was doing portrait drawings through Doodle Warrior Academy, their portrait drawing system. It's not just how they did it, but like because it was so thoroughly broken down into lessons and exercises, I was able to improve by progressing through the course. Right? So I would, and also their way of studying would just made sense to me. I don't know if I'm sure I haven't covered, it sounds very familiar that I covered this before, but basically you had the same reference twice, and on a third same reference twice. You had your canvas was divided into 3 from 3 equal parts, and the 2 first parts had your reference, same reference, and then the rightmost cell, if you will, was blank. So on the left reference, you would trace over it You trace over the reference, and in the blank space, you would freehand what you traced while looking at the reference on your left-hand side. Or you could switch it around if it was easier for you to go from trace on the right and then do the freehand on the left, whatever. But the fact that you were allowed to do tracing really was a huge burden off my shoulders. So treating the reference tracing was just demystifying or breaking it down, making it easier, and of course making it easier just to see, like, here's the brow line and draw the line on top of the reference. This is the brow line. This is what it's supposed to look like, roughly speaking. And in the beginning, it was pretty terrible. But I did 6 reps of each exercise before I moved on to the next exercise. And when I moved on to the next exercise, I started with a new reference and a blank canvas. And I would repeat the previous steps. And then I would add the next new step on top of it. Alright? Does that make any sense? I hope that makes any sense. I mean, it made a lot of sense to me when I did it. So, like, the very first exercise was the very first exercise. Just do a pirate software. But basically, the first exercise was just the initial circle and the side ellipse, obviously. And you did that for the 3/4 view, and you did that for the profile view, and you also did that for the front view. When the front view obviously had 2 side ellipses because you were looking at the front, right? Did that. That was exercise 1. That was step 1. Okay, cool. So I did first the trace, and then I did the freehand afterwards. Now, afterwards, what I did, and then I came back, alright, exercise 2, which was the brow line, and I'm not sure what you would call it, but it's a line basically goes from the side of your temple back to across your ear. Sunglass angle, I suppose you can call it. But anyway, again, blank canvas, and I would go like, alright, I have to go through step 1, which is this, and then here's the brow line, and there's the other one. I'm done. I would do the trace, and then I would try to replicate it with a freehand, and try to get the freehand to be as close to the trace as possible. Right? And again, I would repeat it. You know, you would have your 3/4 view, your profile view, which was essentially just a line like that, and then your front view. Front view was actually like something like that, because there. And then you were kind of like, all right, and you were done that. Once for the trace, once for the freehand. So you would do 2 reps per head orientation. And then you would eventually get like, okay, so now I need to do, on the 3rd exercise, we just go like, all right, I need to repeat step 1, repeat step 2. And then I believe step 3 was like center line and chin. That's it. Okay, cool. And so on and so forth. That was pretty much how I went through it. It was slow going, but it was steady, and you got the sense of progression, like you were slowly building up process. It was slowly building towards something. In this case, a portrait. And lesson 1 was all about the initial lay-in, which was just perspective, proportion, and placement of the facial features. You just draw giant eyeballs, accrue geometric blocking of the ears, the nose, and the lips. And from there, you would just move. And lesson 2 was essentially you would pick a new layer on top of the initial lay-in, and then you would use that as a foundation to draw the planes of the face, which was essentially just a Diet Coke version of the Asaro head. You started with the eyes, the eyelids, and eyelids, opening of the eyes, and then go and you would just work your way out from that. But even though I was at lesson 2, I would still go through all of lesson 1 before adding. So you get the repetition, I would slowly building up my confidence, I get more and more familiar with the content of first lesson because I kept doing it over and over and over again. I was getting in those reps, I was getting the mileage, while also at the same time almost always getting something new. You get a little bit of new on top of it. You had this natural, organic increase in difficulty. Right? And the big plan 25 was to and that was a huge success. The course had 10 lessons. I only got through the first 3 because I was so freaking slow, but I was very thorough with it. Right? Slow is steady, and steady is fast, chat. Keep that in mind. So, okay, cool. And there were people who blazed through the course in a year, and got to it. But I obviously the final thing of lesson 3, the final exercise of lesson 3, which was the hair. Not particularly good at it, because again, that's not what I haven't done so much of it. I haven't done very much of it, so that's why I'm bad at it. But it was a good deal of fun, though. You're slowly building up that confidence, and you go yeah, I can do this, and you start to internalize it. You go slowly start to understand it. Hey, I was bad at this once, but now I'm better at it. So even if I'm bad at stage 12, that's okay, because I will go through stage 12, the 12th step in the process or whatever, will become will be a stepping stone as I move towards other steps, right? I'm okay, cool. So I'm not necessarily that bothered by. It doesn't matter that I might be bad at it now, but as I get repetitions of it, as I sort of use it as a stepping stone towards later stages, I will naturally get in those mileage. The idea for 25 was, of course, to do the same thing for figure drawing and anatomy, and that didn't pan out particularly well. But yeah, I still think that is a way of studying that really resonates with me. But I also think that figure drawing and anatomy is just so much bigger than portrait drawing. The subject matter is just so massive that I think I don't know. Because the idea that I have, and the problem is, of course, that the advantage with the portrait system from Google was like it was already broken down to me. I could just follow the set of instructions. But the idea that I have for figure drawing is just to go like, all right, so you have making plans for next year. If you have like the rib cage, the front of the rib cage, right? And then you draw it again. And you have essentially the back of the rib cage. Right? So you will have your shoulder blades here essentially, and you will have your collarbones here. Right. And then you would just work with like neck and, you know, shoulder muscles and whatnot. Neck, and you would just work a little by little, right? So you would go like, all right, this is step one, and then you're like, all right, we're done. And then you would come back the next day and you would go like, all right, we're gonna go through step one, but now we're also gonna add like, we're gonna add the pecs, right? Pecs on the front, and, you know, I don't know, traps on the back or something. I don't know. But basically, excuse me, you would do this. Basically, you would do the same thing, and you would just. And if you already have the head, you can sort of just slowly but surely work your way down through the body. Not sure if that makes sense, but that is the idea, but you kind of just need to. I'm not sure how, because doing just that can. Yeah, because like all I did last year was pretty much just portraits. It was just that course, just that portrait drawing, and but at the tail end of this year, or I did do some more finished, complete pieces, which was fun. And I go like, that might also be a way forward, but rather than obsessing about studying hands or noses or whatever, like one specific thing in isolation, it's just instead of just do projects, right? Just study. Does that make sense? Or make finished pieces, and those are your studies. Like you're just combining multiple theories together. Essentially cashing in, because tying things together, that seems to be a big challenge for me. Having a holistic process that will take me from blank canvas to finished product, and then just keep doing that over and over and over again until it is properly, until it has been properly internalized. I think that is the way forward. So it's not even New Year's yet, and I'm already making resolutions while talking to myself on stream. Yay. If Disney's not going to sue me for copyright infringement because I keep making Star Wars references. Maybe some staff from Arkham Asylum will come and pick me up instead. They're long overdue. They're like, I don't know, 4 decades overdue or something. No. Oh, hang on. 3.5 decade or something like that. I don't know. When is it normal for kids? I can get that kids talking to themselves, but like when is it normal for when is it expected that kids will stop talking to themselves? I don't know, chat. I don't know. But yeah, this one turned out pretty decent. All in all. Like the tip of the bottle. Big challenge. And obviously the glasses are not as polished or refined as they are, but still had a lot of fun with it, which is, I suppose, the important part. It's also interesting learning and seeing the reflections of the glass, of like how you can do that with just, you get that effect, but you get it with shapes. That's the big takeaway of this whole exercise: thinking in values and thinking in shapes, rather than getting so hung up on lines all the time. Because that can also be a thing that is detrimental to your, not detrimental, but really slow you down in terms of progress if you are you're trying to be something that you're not, if that makes sense. Like you're studying in a way that doesn't necessarily make sense to you, but you're like, but everybody else says that this is the way to do it, and that is not. So yeah, it's not. Yeah. So if you're more like, again, if you're more a painter kind of thing, it could be more this exercise could be more beneficial for you if working with lines is far more counterintuitive or struggling. Working with shapes like this and values could be very, very beneficial. Or vice versa. Like if this doesn't make any sense to you, it's just blobs and looks hideous. Then yeah, they're both valid approaches, but it's not bad to try to do dip your toes in both, because they're both, even if you prefer one over the other, it is still beneficial, unless you want to go like pure do nothing but line art. Yeah. You would at some point want to render it, and sure, you can do cross-hatching, and you know, I have some workbooks from, what's his name again? What says Dunn on the book? Alfonso Dunn. He had a couple of, it was pen and ink, and it was like, it's not for me, like it's not the medium of choice, but like, god dang, it does look pretty. I will give him that, and you can make some pretty pictures with that, chat. I mean, you can. But here I am yapping, and we should probably call it a quits? Shouldn't we, chat? Yeah, I think we should. Right? So, see you tomorrow, same time. Bye.